Hello, my name is Mrs. Elliott, Head of English, and this PowerPoint will inform you what students will be studying during Year 10 and Year 11 during their English lessons. The English course is compulsory and provides opportunities to develop skills in speaking, listening, reading and writing in a wide variety of contexts. Pupils will be engaged for studying for 2 GCSE examinations in this subject, English language and English literature. The exam board is AQA. I will now explain what the English Language GCSE course consists of. The English Language GCSE consists of 2 papers, Paper 1 and Paper 2. Section A on both papers focuses on reading and Section B on both papers focuses on writing skills of students. Students are also expected to take the non-examination assessment of spoken language. This takes place in the classroom and is assessed by their teacher. English Language Paper 1 is a 1 hour and 45-minute paper. That includes 15 minutes reading time. Section A requires students to answer 4 reading questions and Section B requires students to spend 45 minutes answering 1 question. English Language Paper 2 again is a 1 hour and 45-minute paper and it includes 15 minutes reading time. Section A requires students to answer 4 questions and Section B requires students again to spend 45 minutes answering 1 question based on a writing task. On the next 2 slides are the English language assessment objectives. Assessment Objective 1, identify and interpret explicit and implicit information and ideas, select and synthesize evidence from different texts. Assessment Objective 2, explain, comment on and analyse how writers use language and structure to achieve effects and influence readers, using relevant subject terminology to support their views. Assessment Objective 3, compare writers' ideas and perspective as well as how these are conveyed across 2 or more texts. Assessment Objective 4, evaluate text critically and support this with appropriate textual references. Assessment Objective 5, communicate clearly, effectively and imaginatively, selecting and adapting tone, style and register for different forms, purposes and audiences. Organise information and ideas using structural and grammatical features to support coherence and cohesion of text. Assessment Objective 6, candidates must use a range of vocabulary and sentence structures for clarity, purpose and effect with accurate spelling and punctuation. Assessment Objective 7, demonstrate presentation skills in a formal setting. Assessment Objective 8, listen and respond appropriately to spoken language, including to questions and feedback on presentations. Assessment Objective 9, use spoken standard English effectively in speeches and presentations. I will now explain to you what students are expected to do for their English literature exam. English Literature Paper 1 is 40% of the literature grade. It's worth 64 marks and the paper is 1 hour and 45 minutes long. Section A requires students to answer 1 question on the text of Macbeth. This question has 34 marks allocated to it, 4 for SPAG. Students would be expected to spend 1 hour on this section. Section B focuses on A Christmas Carol. Again, students would answer 1 question. This section is worth 30 marks and students would be expected to spend 45 minutes on this question. English Literature Paper 2 is worth 60% of the final literature grade. 96 marks are allocated for this paper. The paper is a long one, it is 2 hours and 15 minutes. Section A focuses on Inspector Calls. There's a choice of 2 questions and pupils answer 1 question. 34 marks are allocated for Section A, 4 of those marks are for SPAG. Pupils are expected to spend 45 minutes on this section. Section B focuses on the poetry anthology, which will be provided to the students. The cluster that Hurstmere studies is Power and Conflict. Students are expected to answer 1 question from this section and they are to spend 45 minutes on it. Section C focuses on unseen poetry. Students have 2 questions to answer. This section is worth 32 marks. And again, students are expected to spend 45 minutes on this question. On this slide, you can see the English Literature Assessment Objectives. Assessment Objective 1 requires pupils to read, understand and respond to texts. Students should be able to maintain a critical style and develop an informed personal response. Use textual references, including quotations, to support and illustrate interpretations. Assessment Objective 2 requires pupils to analyse the language, form and structure used by a writer to create meanings and effect, using relevant subject terminology where appropriate. Assessment Objective 3 shows understanding of the relationship between text and the context in which they were written. And finally, Assessment Objective 4 is assessed in some sections, and pupils are to show that they can use a range of vocabulary and sentence structures for clarity, purpose and effect, with accurate spelling and punctuation. I hope you found this presentation informative and you now have a clearer idea of what GCSE English Language and GCSE English Literature consist of. Please take care and be safe.